Shalom Barak to everyone who joins. Father's peace and blessings to you. It's time for a party. Today is Q&A day, and already in my mind I have a few things I'd like to talk about. So I'll present this time for anyone to have any questions, comments, whatever the case may be. And I will spend that time reading. There are a couple of passages in the Quran I would like to share. So I'm going to share out the link via TikTok and let some people know that we're live. And we'll go from there. I'm going to get things set up and turn on some music for the background for a little while. I pray everyone's been having a great day. We might have to reboot TikTok. Let's see here. Kingmaker. Shalom Barak to you. Thank you for joining in. Saeed Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. Trying to see what's going on over here with TikTok. Like I said, I might have to reboot it. See what is the message. Really? So you're gonna tell me what it is that I do? Really? See that name where it says Saeed Ahmed? I recognize and respect that name because Saeed means master, mister, knight, nobleman. It's part of my name too. Saeed Akun Maliki Safir. I don't need anyone to try to hypnotically tell me what to do with my affairs. Shalom Akati. We're taking a moment to get TikTok to act right. The other device isn't acting accordingly. Excuse me. And also, gonna cue up some music. Like we were speaking earlier, I've decided I do want to read those two surah today. We're gonna have question and answer. I thank everyone for joining. We get together on 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern to talk about entrepreneurship and service in your community. Give me a moment, I'm going to close one of the doors. It's drafty, it's windy and sunny outside. It's a great, beautiful day. However, I'm going to close one of the doors so it'll be mostly the wind we'll hear instead of things slamming shut. One moment, please. We're still trying to get TikTok up live again. Just resume the live. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Make sure we can keep it standing upright. Looks like we might have an issue with the sun in a minute, but hold on, I think we might be all right. brother Ben is outside doing some farming, let's say, sifting through his soil. So we might hear him moving around at his work. Let's see what's been going on in the comment section. Saeed Ahmed, yes, I'm having a great day. Well, Assalamu alaikum to you. Thank you for stopping through. Uh, he's gonna miss it. I was gonna talk about Surah Imran and Surah Maryam. Well, maybe he'll catch it later. I'll send a shout out to him. Look out for Sayed Ahmed. Let's try and put a tag to him. We're gonna get at that part a little bit later. Right now, we're waiting for some people to show up. See if we can get some more people invited to the room over at TikTok. Won't hold us for too long though. We'll play a little bit of music, and then if there's really no questions or anything, like I said, I'm gonna read some surah today. I'm gonna put some clarity in the air for everyone who thought that the verses from one holy book to the other would be such a mystery, but it's really not. It's very plain. Yeah, for some reason TikTok still doesn't want to cooperate. I've cleared out the cache and everything. We've actually seen it earlier today and many other times. Sometimes it might not be the signal we're pushing. It might be from the other side. Thank you for bearing with me. Give me a moment to get this sent out. I apologize for all the noise, by the way. I'm trying to get a device. So we've taken 2 weeks to review origins of the stories behind the different special interest groups as far as meeting up with Highest Heights Studio. Excuse me one moment. All right, so here we go. 17 new messages in TikTok land. Devo 3800. I see a cross. Uh, Flamingo Montoya. Been 12 times. Born into greatness. Bold 7 classic. Bold servant. DMV Mao. Shalom Aparat to all of you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to put something in your ears today, so thank you all for showing up and listening. I have an important message. Um, Today, when my eyes opened, it was after Kahalet Kofi did his message. And it's not an ironic thing or anything like that as far as why today is question and answer and on this channel. That's going to basically be every Sunday according to the calendar. Right now, I'm only using um, YouTube and TikTok. I did tap into Streamlabs earlier today. I was experimenting to see if I could do multiple streams from one device. They are requiring payment. There are other opportunities or options. So I'm looking at some other things. There are a lot of different platforms I could use to go live right now at any given time. It's just about having the devices. All right. So, oh yeah, I've got a profile on Clapper, and there are some people on Clapper who know me there too. So it wouldn't just be us showing up. There's some people that I've built a relationship with over the years. One of the um, one of the special interest groups, Crypto and Beyond, that was developed by a guy named Malcolm 2.0. Malcolm was the one that said, we have a lot of questions about how does cryptocurrency work? What is Web3? How can we apply that to life? What does it really do? That was his idea, his brainchild. So if I were to go back in to Clapper and start talking about crypto and beyond and mention Malcolm's name a couple times, yeah, there will be some people who will perk their ears back up. When I was talking about Namde Hum, Fox Owl Wisdom is actually a known personality on Clapper. His name is B Art, B underscore ART. Might be B underscore ART 76 or something like that. He goes on live and he speaks with other people in the group. So there might be 7 or 8 people on the video chat with him. He may or may not be the host at the time. He plays music. Sometimes he shares stories with you about what he's doing, playing Pokemon games or whatever. Real cool guy. When I say hashtag kindness is contagious, I get that from him. I've known him for about 3, 4 years now, as well as I've been interactive with SOC for about that amount of time as well. Um, Clapper started about that around the time when BLM was happening, when um, when we were told to stay home and all of that. That was around the time that Clapper was developed. The atmosphere there has changed a lot. Yeah, but at the same time, you can go on there and do pretty much what you want. You know, they're not going to allow certain antics. However, yeah, there's certain restrictions that are in these other platforms that are not there. The reason I don't push the platform is because I want to use the platforms that actually give accreditation to uh, writers and performers. When you have ownership of your property, you look for the stores that are going to support you. Each platform out here is just a front for a radio station. You have to think of it that way. And every time you're placing any content out here, you need to be claiming it, number one. And number two, you need to know how to properly register it and spread it around. I've asked the question before, do you go to one store and buy 12 things, or do you happen to go to 12 different stores sometimes to get those things? Walmart, the corporation, was started up by an entrepreneur, but everybody that works for Walmart is not an entrepreneur. Some of them in the executive positions are entrepreneurs, meaning they use their talents to help the company grow. An entrepreneur has sole responsibility for everything that happens within the business or the organization. Every day that we get together, we're going to start putting some facts together, and we're going to start putting some plans together, and we're going to start putting some action together concerning business. I don't like to talk a whole lot. I like to see things done. There's a reason why there's a recurring question I'm always asking, what's your mission? And I told you all my mission. Kati Mavis, Shalom Aparak, Brother Thomas, Shalom Aparak. Akati Deborah, you want to get more into crypto? Well, this is the right spot because here we're going to be talking about how you can turn your own profile into your own crypto coin. That's why I keep mentioning not only do I have a coin, there is a coin that exists in the name of SOC. When you see those posts that I do on Facebook and it's showing the link going to focus, and you see the little numbers on the inside, the green highlighted numbers and all of that, that's talking about a site on Web3 called Focus, who works with another complete network called the Social World. The Social World has a coin called DESO. Right now, that particular coin is worth somewhere between $6 to $8. To buy one of the coins, it costs around that much. You can buy it in small amounts, larger amounts, or whatever you want to do. That's just the market value right now. I've seen it increase, I've seen it decrease. The reason why it's at $6 right now is because they've invested into the other site called Focus. Focus is being pushed out of Twitter. However, the more you share it across to the different platforms, the more your own coin increases in value. Because in Web3, they practice what is called blockchain movement. Every time you put data into the system and it moves, that means the data has moved along the blockchain. And Tada, thank you for the love. Tada. Yahweh Ahava. I see some green hearts. Let's see some locks. We locked in. So every time your data moves along the blockchain, it does grow in increments in value. I can show you where even though it says 0.000006, for every time I post up something, there's a particular program called Node Bits, and it says you have just received that amount from Node Bits. That's because I use that network, and I've also invested 1 cent, 2 cent, who knows how much into that particular operation, into that particular program. When you think of Facebook, you might think of all of the different people who have their profiles on there, but how often do you think about the people who run the program behind it to make sure that it is up and maintained and running every day? You don't think about them until you go to your profile and something doesn't work. There are people who develop the program to get it started to begin with, and then there's the people who make sure that Everything that gets launched is doing what it's supposed to do. In Web3, you may have someone who developed a whole concept that's like Facebook, and then someone else who developed a concept that's like Twitter, X, and someone else who has a concept like TikTok. Now, instead of them being separate, they all invest into one operation. And they don't say, okay, well, we're going to have it split one third, and one third. They say, let's have some investors in this. No matter what percentage you put in, you're an investor. In Web 2 and in the capitalist system itself, it's usually ran by who has the higher amount of capital, interest, investment, equity in whatever project is in question. And the higher the capital that a person has, the more power and prestige and pull they may have in that particular project. That's centralized banking. When we use devices that rely on the Google network, we are relying on a centralized system that will pick and choose the information. If you go into Google, whether it's Chrome or whatever you want to use, once you break it down, Safari and Bing and Yahoo and everybody else, still coming from the same place. You have to tell it that you want academic journal research so that you can have citations and references, so that you can do cross references, so that you can do 3 point enumerations. I use one called Brave. Now, when I start telling you different apps, it's not because they sponsor me or anything like that. There's certain apps that I use because they are free to use and they are powerful tools. You'll find out some amazing wonders once you start using Brave. Another one I use is Opera for the same reason, and they can hold e-wallets, which will be mighty handy when you start up your profile on the social world, which will lead you to Diamond app. When you're on Facebook, I do have access where people can tip whenever I do a post. I don't know if everybody has that. I have access to where if I were doing a Facebook Live, people could tip me then, just like you can tip me in these. You know, that's not what I'm pushing. It's great when it's done, and I'm very grateful, believe me. But to be honest with you, what's the process to turn those tips into U.S. dollars or something a person can use? And even how much was taken away when the person bought whatever it takes to get the coins and the diamonds, and the transfer rate to that, is it dollar per dollar? And then does the tip go dollar per dollar? The platform that I use, when a person gives you a 1 cent tip, you get a 1 cent tip. You can get 10 diamonds, it's a dime. People can tip you whatever they choose. As a matter of fact, if they're not tipping your actual content that you upload, they can invest in your coin because they like what you're posting and they want to show you faith in what you're doing. The more they invest in your coin, the more your coin grows. You can use cryptocurrency to seal smart contracts. You can post a picture, and behind that picture is the real promissory note and the written agreement that you have with whosoever wants to partake in your service or your product. There will be 2 days that we'll be speaking about cryptocurrency and Web3. As a matter of fact, they're back to back. One of them will be doing analytics, which is how to compare the data and how things are moving. And that also works for with Web 2, like I spoke earlier, companies that are associated with Google, Instagram. Now, just because they say that they're from another building or whatever, or a different CEO, doesn't mean that they're not separate. They're still not separate entities. They all work together. It's telecommunication. Mitch Sharon's assassin. I have a little trouble saying your name. Familiar name and face though. Shalom Barak. Mad Trucker. My brother, Bruder. Shalom Barak to you. Wendy Good. Shalom Barak. Thank you all for stopping through and spending time. So yeah, we've spent 2 weeks talking about the origins of the different special interest groups that I have affiliated with in order to make a structure for our discussions. All right, there's 14 days and 2 weeks, and we'll be basically meeting up uh, 12 out of 14 days because we'll be stepping back on Shabbat. On Sundays will be question and answer day. That leaves 5 groups per week to speak on. And I make sure that there's 10 different ones with 10 different ideas. So that even though this isn't just some idea thrown out in the air, we spoke on how to do a business proposal. So each one of these particular special interest groups would have their own business proposal. So we'll walk down that lane with each of them as we speak on them because we're talking about organic marketing strategies for entrepreneurship. And yes, we are rocking and rolling. We've been rocking and rolling since before the electric guitar. We've been rocking and rolling since before that boat that nobody wants to talk about. We've been rocking and rolling because we were already on boats, traveling and casting nets. Today, it was around 10 o'clock my time when I opened my eyes, tuned into Kahalet Kofi as he was doing a question and answer session. Minister Tracy had a question about the song of Mary, Yahshua HaMashiach's mother. And I listened to the response. There are 2 surah in the Quran that speak specifically about Mary, or in Arabic it would be Maryam, and even in some scriptures and scrolls it's Maryam. We're not here to argue about that. That's not the case. There are specific stories told about Maryam and her lineage, and I won't say the notoriety, I will say the name, the Shem, the authority of their family. Yeah, there's 2 surah in the Quran that I want to share with you all. There was a time back when I shared the same surah in a brothers meeting. There's the women in red, and then there's the brothers in black. And I had the same 2 surah to share because people were in doubt about what is the faith behind the story of Yahshua HaMashiach. And you see, it goes deeper than just what a few people may have said in one book or another. It goes deeper than when Maryam was given the gift and a blessing and was told, your son's name shall be thus and so. And you've been awarded these things because of your dutiful service. Maryam was known for being amongst the widows, the poor, the sick, the imprisoned. She would be in the darkest places of the city, yet she would remain chaste. She would remain pure. She would remain on her mission and would return home. Why? Because she was already dedicated. Because her father was also told, you're going to have a daughter. She's going to be dedicated to the temple. Zechariah was speechless for a minute. He couldn't even speak. He couldn't talk. He couldn't move his tongue. And not just for a minute. As my granddaddy would say, I reckon it was about 3 days. So as I was listening to the Q&A, my ears perked up because I heard something. Nobody knew about Maryam. Nobody knew who they were. I beg to differ. I beg to differ because there's two specific surah in the Quran. One is called Imran, and the other is called Maryam. Imran is a title of sheriff. There is Sharif, like you've heard, even in Arabic tongue, you've heard of those who call themselves Sharif. That's because they are being a sheriff. Yes, a nobleman who is also a priest. Imran is the name of Maryam's father. I don't know too many unknown sheriffs. And Elizabeth's family was well known as well. Not everybody got along with what they did and what they said. You can believe, though, they were very known. And they were being watched. They were being watched by the community, by the assembly. They were also being watched by the dignitaries. They were being watched by the scribes. They were being watched by those who were recognized as sinners and those who said, well, we're going to lead another life irregardless. They were being watched because it wasn't that they were the remnants, however, they were the representatives because they actually did stand up and go about their duties. That's the thing about the Romans. You could do whatever your customs are, just pay a tax. Matter of fact, we'll protect you from all enemies of our territory because they just want to fight us anyway. We'll go out and fight the battle and protect you. Just pay a tax. So you can go about doing what you are already doing. If you say that you are healers and you go and you speak over people and you enlighten them and you remind them of their spirituality and their standards, by all means, please keep doing that. Excuse me. Keeps the productivity going up. High morale, great. Whatever it takes. So it wasn't that they were unknown. They were very well known. That's the whole reason why when Yashavai started going about doing the things he was doing as an adolescent, and then once he got older, everybody was taking notes. Like Pastor said, when he started reciting certain verses, yeah, everybody could repeat the rest of the verse because he wasn't the only one who was studying. We all spent time in school, whether it was up to first grade or 12th grade or beyond. Some of us came out sometimes with straight A's, sometimes there was a few A's and some B's and C's, and sometimes we couldn't figure out how it was an F, and can we get an E somewhere in there? Because I put in the effort. So no, not everyone was the same equal level as far as being studious. Not everyone was the same level as far as putting things into practice either. Yahshua HaMashiach was exemplary because he had already been taught and trained how to be exemplary. And all of the children had the same guidebook. He came from an exemplary family. Oh yeah, they knew who he was. They knew who Maryam was. They knew who Yosef was. Maryam was not put away in shame. She was put away in protection. You see, I have two sons, and the mother of my sons, she didn't tell her to go somewhere and sit down. We had an agreement, as a matter of fact. After she carried each child, we were going to walk up to the top of the mountain. There's a local mountain in town. Some people wouldn't call it a mountain. It's more like a hill. It's a pretty tall hill. You can call it a mountain. After she carried the child, then it was my duty to put that child in one of those little papoose carriers and walk up the mountain with her. It's dedication. And I'm talking not the next day after delivery, of course. However, yeah, shortly after delivery. And we did that twice. Now, that wasn't the only time that we visited the mountain, of course. So there was no telling her that she was going to have to go sit still somewhere while she was pregnant. She was going to do as she pleased. The idea that was she was put in a safe place. And anyone who came to visit, they knew the rules of visiting. And those who were not supposed to be there, they were very, very discouraged from being there. She was in a safe place. She went about town as much as she wanted. And she could come home and call it home. Now, that's my own personal experience. And that's because we made an agreement before we decided that we were going to be the union to bring Ishmael into this world. She knew the story. Because I had to look her straight in the eye and tell her, you know what this is about, what this is going to start. Oh, yes. So I want to read two surah to you all today. Been going back and forth in my mind about starting up some music. Think I'll do that just long enough to find the passages that I want to read. I thank all of you all for showing up today. Much love to all of you. Yahweh Ahava. It takes Yahweh in order for there to be love. Ahava Ahava. Love is love. Love is an action. Be right back. Yeah, we've moved location. We might go back to the wooden room at some point, but today is not an opportune day for that. So we're gonna chill here. Make sure everybody is still in, and we're gonna proceed. All right. Legion of Doom 12. Shalom Aparat. Minister Stephen, Shalom Aparat. It's very tough to see you here. My mind is settled on some jazz. Listen to some jazz for a minute. The times that I was introduced to hearing voices speaking in Arabic, most of the time it was over jazz interludes. Now, this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. If it were a real emergency, you would be given further instruction. What do y'all know about spoken word poetry? That's not what I'm about to do to you. Most of the time, you hear music like this when they get ready to do that. There were times I would have these tapes that would be playing in the boom boxes. And the boom boxes would have this strange language that I've never heard. I learned about Swahili when I was young. I knew about Japanese and Chinese from watching WGN. Some of you all remember 4, 7, and 11. UHF and VHF. When you go outside, and the older brothers, they had music playing in the boom boxes. Now, my older cousin Donald, he's a couple years older than me. He was known as J Squad. I was surprised once I was older and I was given that name too. In different area, different people still got the same name. I looked up to him on how to move and how to do. Cousin Donald didn't necessarily like jazz. He said this would put him to sleep. This would make my day. I could listen to this all day, every day. Get through the day just fine. You could pass me a cup of water and tell me it's coffee. My day is fine. Right? Sometimes I would hear voices speaking, and they would be saying certain things. I couldn't quite pick up what they were talking about. And then when I was about 17 years old, my brother handed me a Quran. And he was playing something similar to this. He opened it up, and he showed me where it was written in Arabic. And he read out exactly what it was saying. And then he pointed to it in English, which was right next to it. And he told me what that said. He asked me, do you agree to these terms? Do you agree to speaking this aloud and living this? And I said, yes. I became a Muslim when I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. I became a knowledgeable Muslim that fall when I turned 17. The whole idea behind Prophet Muhammad, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, peace be upon him, the whole idea behind him being so special and receiving the message and then later revealing it to the people is the fact that they say he was an unlearned man. And then people forget, no, he was actually a wealthy, successful businessman who was able to take 30 days out of the year, 30 consecutive days, step away from his work and go study. So while one person might say he was unlearned, I would say he knew very well how to get around town and more than likely very much worldly knowledge as well concerning other people that go to and fro. He lived in Mecca. It's like saying someone who has a successful business in Washington, D.C. doesn't know much about the world and can't read. Sure, can they count numbers? Can they ascertain different names? Can they navigate their way through the city? Do they know different customs for different people? Are they able to interact with different people? See, that takes learning, so you can't really say unlearned. Depends on the type of learning. Some people are biased on what they would consider learning. There was a movie. higher learning. What is high? What is higher? What is learn? What is learning? Now, I told y'all I wasn't going to do that to you. However, I did have to make that reference. We're about to dig into the Quran. I want to share with you all al-Imran and the surah of Maryam. I thank all of you for stopping through. I appreciate it. I want y'all to see what I'm working with. Now, even though it is written from right to left, it doesn't start from this back side and go the other way. It does start up here in the front. Bismillah. In the name of our Father, Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. We ask for protection against the evil ways as we walk the divine path. Surah al-Imran is the third surah. And there's actually about 200 lines, 200 ayah. So bear with me. I want you to see what I'm working with. Right here at the very top. When you're hearing me say, Basmalah, in the name of our Father, it's at the very top of the surah. So every time there was a revelation, it was spoken in the name of our Father. Something moved me, told me to read the whole complete Imran. And for one, I think it's somewhere around ayah 30, where it starts talking about the lineage. And see, here's the thing that people need to understand about what is the promise to being a Muslim or practicing Islam. There's the pillar of faith, the belief there's only one to worship, who is our Creator. There's the pillar of prayer, 5 known times throughout the day that Muslims will pray. There's fasting. There's a set time that we are supposed to fast each year, just as Prophet Muhammad did. They also say taking the journey or the Hajj, the pilgrimage. They also say that if one does not have the wherewithal or the wealth to do so, then you just observe the times when everyone else is on pilgrimage. until you get the moment where you can. It is said to be a blessing in life. There are two things that complete your deen or your walk on the path in life. One of those is to complete a pilgrimage to the holy place, and the other is marriage. Your spouse completes your deen. Your spouse is the other half of you. That's why we say that yes, the husband and wife see each other as helpmeet and vice versa, working the mission together. There are a lot of similarities, and there are also a lot of holes where one story is missing something that we can pick up from another. That's why I'm about to read this, and I'm going to read until certain things are highlighted, and I want you all to hear those similarities. For everybody who thought there was a mystery behind it, you see, the book I'm holding in my hands, one side is in Arabic characters, and then the other side is in English. And Khaled was speaking today about when you see things in italics, it was added. When you see things in brackets and parentheses, it was added. That even happens in the Quran. When you see things in all capital letters, it was added. I'm going to read through, and I want you to hear exactly what's there, even in my book, what's in the parentheses and everything. Alif Lam Mim. Not every surah, however, many of them do start with three characters, and many people do not know what the three characters mean. So consider A, L, M. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. Alif, Lam, Mim. Allah, there is no God but He, the living, the eternal. He has revealed to you this book with the truth, confirming the scripture which preceded it, as He revealed the Torah and injeel. Injeel is gospel. Before this, as a guidance for mankind, and also revealed this al-Furqan. When people say Quran, Furqan is criterion for judgment between right and wrong. Surely those who reject Allah's revelations will be sternly punished. Allah is mighty, capable of retribution. Surely nothing in the earth or in the heavens is hidden from Allah. It is He who shapes your bodies in the wombs of your mothers as He pleases. There is no God but He, the mighty, the wise. He is the one who has revealed to you the book. Some of its verses are decisive. They are the foundation of the book, while others are allegorical. Those whose hearts are infected with disbelief follow the allegorical part to mislead others and to give it their own interpretation, seeking for its hidden meanings. But no one knows its hidden meanings except Allah. Those who are well grounded in knowledge say, we believe in it. It is all from our Rab. Rab is father, Abba, Rabbi. None will take heed except the people of understanding. They say, our Rab, do not let our hearts deviate from the truth after you have guided us, and grant us your own mercy. You are the granter of bounties without measure. Our Rab, you will surely gather all mankind before you on the day about which there is no doubt. Surely Allah does not break His promises. Surely neither their wealth nor their children will save the unbelievers from the wrath of Allah. They are the ones who will become the fuel for hellfire. Their end will be the same as that of the people of Firaun. That's Pharaoh, Pharaoh, Firaun, Firaun, and their predecessors who denied our revelations. So Allah called them to account for their sins. Allah is strict in retribution. O Muhammad. Now, this is one of the times where it's in italics. Prophet Muhammad's name is not actually written that often in the real Arabic in the Quran because he was doing the revelations. So why would he speak his own name while reciting the message? O Muhammad, say to the unbelievers, soon you will be overpowered and driven together to hell, which is a horrible refuge. Indeed, there was a sign lesson for you in the two armies which met on the battlefield of Badr, Badr. One was fighting for the cause of Allah, and the other had rejected Allah. The believers saw with their own eyes that the unbelievers were twice their number, but the result of the battle proved that Allah strengthens with his own aid whom he pleases. Surely there is a lesson in this for those who have sight. The life of men is tempted by love and desire for women, children, the hoarding, the hoarding of treasures of gold and silver, branded horses, wealth of cattle and plantations. These are the comforts for the transitory life of this world. The everlasting best comfort, however, is with Allah. Say, shall I tell you of better things than these, with which the righteous will be rewarded by their Rabb? There will be gardens beneath which rivers flow, where they will live forever with spouses of perfect chastity and the good pleasure of Allah. Allah is watching his servants very closely. The righteous people are those who pray, our Rabb, we sincerely believe in you. Please forgive our sins and save us from the agony of hellfire, who are steadfast, sincere, obedient, and charitable, and who pray for forgiveness in the morning time. Allah himself has testified to the fact that there is no God but he, and so do the angels and those who are well grounded in knowledge, standing firm in justice. No ilah, except he, the mighty, the wise. Here, God is in parentheses. There is no ilah, God, except he, the mighty, the wise. And remember, I told you all, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. There is no one to worship. There is no one to acknowledge. There is no one to praise except for Allah. Put the whole name together, the whole authority, the whole Shem, Yahweh Elohim. TikTok's having a little fit over here. Apparently, I'm not moving around enough while I'm reading Ayah. Come on, Jigsaw puzzle, lock it in. There we go. Thank you to everybody for sticking around. I do appreciate you. I value your presence. Much love to all of you. What is love? Love is when you see a need and you immediately jump up and go help to the best of your ability, whether asked or not. Love is all compassion. Love is knowing what hurts inside and making sure that the next person doesn't feel that, and you both grow together. Give a warning to those who deny Allah's revelations, who slay the prophets without any justification, and who kill those from among the people who enjoin justice, that there is a painful punishment for them. They are the ones whose deeds will become void in this world and in the hereafter, and they will have no helpers. Have you not seen the behavior of those, in parentheses, Jews, Have you not seen the behavior of those Jews who have been given a portion of the book? When they are invited to settle their disputes according to the book of Allah, some of them turn back and decline. This is because they say, the fire of hell shall not touch us. Even if it does, it will be for a few days. In their religion, they are deceived by their own self-invented beliefs. What will they do when we gather them together on the day which is sure to come, when every soul will be given what it has earned, and there shall be no injustice? Say, O Allah, master of all kingship, you give the kingdom to whom you please, and take away the kingdom from whomsoever you please. You give honor to whom you please, and disgrace from whom you please. All the good is in your hand. Surely you have power over everything. You cause the night to pass into the day, and you cause the day to pass into the night. You draw the living from the dead, and you draw the dead from the living, and you provide sustenance for anyone you wish without measure. Let not the believers make unbelievers their protectors instead of the believers. Anyone who does so will have nothing to hope for from Allah, except if you do so as a precaution to guard yourselves against their tyranny. Anyhow, Allah warns you to fear Him, because with Allah is your final refuge. Say, whether you conceal what is in your heart or reveal it, it is known to Allah. He knows whether whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. Allah has full power over everything. On the day of judgment, when every soul will be confronted with whatever good it has done, and those who have done bad deeds will wish that their evil deeds were a long way off. Allah cautions you to be aware of Him. Allah is full of kindness towards His devotees. Now, this is coming from someone who had to stand up in front of the population of Mecca and let them know that they weren't walking correctly. Before he stood up and said something, there was a family called the Quraysh. You all learned a little bit about the Quraysh. It's the sons of Korah, the ones who left Egypt carrying gold and silver and decided to fashion a calf. It's the sons of Korah. When the Quraysh kept on multiplying, yes, a certain section of them fell into the pit. Yes, that is true. However, their line was not just taken away. There were some Persians, and their family name and dynasty was all mixed up in that. And by the tail end of it all was when, well, it wasn't the tail end, it was basically an abrupt change when Muhammad came with the message that they were doing unrighteous dealings in the region. And then after his passing, things changed up again within 30 years. You see, there's the Umayyads and I'd have to look up the other name. The Umayyads were the ones who came afterwards. They claimed community sake. However, their teachings were not exactly what Prophet Muhammad was teaching. And the ones before them, I think they were coming out of Abyssinia. A lot of the misrepresentations of Islam and Muslim come from people who took the name and the authority and misrepresented it. So this is a warning this whole time, telling everyone Allah does know who's really representing the true standard, what is righteous. The mystery behind Muhammad being able to reveal these words you're hearing out of my mouth is because the standard had already been placed there by both Ibrahim and Ishmael. Because Ibrahim and Ishmael had already visited the region before They parted ways. That's why Ishmael knew of a safe place he could go to, he and his mother. Not everybody in the region practiced the same custom and life. However, it was a known and respected lifestyle. Say to the people, O Muhammad, if you sincerely love Allah, then follow me. Allah will also love you and forgive you your sins. Allah is forgiving, merciful. Also tell them, obey Allah and His Rasul. Rasul means messenger, means representative, but specifically it means messenger. In spite of this, if they turn back, then warn them that Allah does not love the disbelievers. Indeed, Allah exalted Adam, Nuh, as you would know him as Noah or Nah, the family of Ibrahim, Abraham, and the family of Imran above all the worlds. They were the offsprings of one another. Allah hears all and knows all. Allah heard when the wife of Imran said, O my Rab, I dedicate to your service what is in my womb. Please accept it from me. You alone hear all and know all. When she gave birth to a girl instead of a boy, she said, my Rab, I've given birth to a girl. Allah knew very well what she had delivered, and that male is not like the female. I have named her Maryam, Mary, and I seek your protection for her and her children from the mischief of Shaitan the accursed. Her Rab graciously accepted her. He made her grow up as a good person and entrusted her to the care of Zechariah. Whenever Zechariah entered the sanctuary to see her, he found with her food. He asked, O Maryam, from where did you get it? She replied, it came from Allah. In fact, Allah gives to whom He wants without measure. Now, where I'm from, at least the first time we pronounce the name of Allah, we also say Subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises to our source of sustenance and mercy. Now, why are you hearing Allah, Allah, Allah? Because that's part of Yahweh Elohim. Elohim means Lord of all lords. Allah means Lord of all worlds, over all creation. Thereupon Zechariah prayed to his Rab, saying, O my Rab, grant me a righteous child as your special favor. Surely you hear all prayers. As he stood praying in the Mahrab, a prayer place in the sanctuary, the angels called out to him, saying, Allah gives you good news of a son to be named Yahya. That's John. He will confirm the word of Allah. He will be a great leader, chaste, and a prophet from among the righteous. He said, O my Rab, how can I have a son now that I've reached an old age and my wife is barren? Such is the will of Allah, he replied. Allah does what he wants. Zechariah said, my Rab, grant me a sign. It was said, your sign is that you will not be able to speak to people for 3 days except through gestures. During this time, you should remember your Rab very much and glorify him in the evening and in the morning. There came the time when angels said, O Maryam, surely Allah has exalted you, purified you, and preferred you for his service over all the women of the worlds. O Maryam, be obedient to your Rab, prostrate and bow down and worship with other worshippers. O Muhammad, this is the news from the unseen which we are revealing to you. You were not present with them when priests of the temple cast their pens to decide which of them should be the guardian of Maryam, nor were you with them when they argued about it. You heard of casting of lots. The custom is casting arrows, or casting straws, or drawing straws. Throw the arrows, and the one that's the odd man out, the one that's not crossed with the other arrows, or the one that's crossed over all of them, game of risk. You were not present with them when priests of the temple cast their pens to decide which of them should be the guardian of Maryam, nor were you with them when they argued about it. Zechariah was her uncle, and he became her guardian. Because while he was out doing a righteous walk, there were those who were unrighteous. They saw, they saw young Maryam, and yes, food was being provided for her through Allah, through Yahweh Elohim. Ravak HaKadesh was visiting with her, and they let her know Yahshua HaMashiach is coming, and you're going to be the vessel. They knew who she was. When the angel said, O Maryam, Allah gives you the good news with a word from him that you will be given a son. His name will be Messiah, Isa. Then in parentheses it says Jesus Christ, the son of Maryam. He will be noble in this world and the hereafter, and he will be from those who are very close to Allah. He will speak to the people in the cradle and in his old age, and he will be among the righteous. Hearing this, Maryam said, Oh, my Rabb, how can I have a son when no man has ever touched me? He replied, Even so, Allah creates however he wants, whenever he decides to do anything. He only says to it, Be, and it is. Allah will teach your son the book, the wisdom, the Torah, and the injeel, the gospel, and sent him forth as a Rasul to the children of Israel with this message. I have brought you signs of my appointment from your Rabb. I will make for you the likeness of a bird from clay. I will breathe into it, and, with Allah's leave, it will become a living bird. I will heal the blind and the lepers, and raise the dead to life by Allah's leave. Furthermore, I will tell you what you have eaten and what you have stored in your houses. Surely these are the signs to convince you if you are believers. I am appointed to confirm that which is before me from the Torah, and to make lawful to you some of the things forbidden to you. I have brought you the signs from your Rabb. Therefore, fear Allah and obey me. In fact, Allah is my Rabb, and well as your Rabb. Therefore, worship Him. This is the right way. Now, you've heard me say injeel, and you've heard me say gospel. What does injeel mean? It means lineage. It means Yahshua HaMashiach came from the lineage of David, or Davad. Davad came from Ibrahim and Musa. They came from Noah, who knew about Methuselah and Eber and Enoch and Yasser. In this book that I'm holding in my hands, there's a constant reminder to remember the day of Asher. Hmm. There's a lot that went on the day of Asher. When Esau found out that most of the children of Israel, had no faith, he asked, Who will help me in the cause of Allah? The disciples replied, We will help you in the cause of Allah. We believe in Allah. Be our witness that we are Muslims. Then they invoked Allah and said, Our Rabb, we believe in what you have revealed, and we follow your Rasul. Please count us with those who bear witness. That's what Sahaba is. Those who have made the promise. Those who are willing to say, La ilaha illallah. There is no one to worship or serve except Allah. I come from Yahweh Elohim. I shall return to Yahweh Elohim. And may Yahweh Elohim be pleased when I return. We've been rocking and rolling for about an hour and 17 minutes. I thank all of you for spending this time. Have we gotten to a common ground here? Because all I'm doing is reading ayah from surah. Sound like anything you've heard before? Because that was the mystery. It wasn't magic. It was not magic. There's a misconception about magic. It's not just something to call witches and wizardry. Magic is unexplained technology. For everyone who's been digging into their studies, do you know who the Ephraim are? Ephraim, Ephraim. And do you know about the Afrid or the Ephraim? Because the Quran will tell you about these beings that were made out of fire that did not burn out. In America, there's a place on the West Coast where you can go to a national park and there's a geyser called Old Faithful that shoots out steam. They can count it on the clock. Well, how about there's a place in the Black Sea where there's a pillar of fire and it's shooting up all the time. It's lit from the natural gases there, and it's been there for thousands of years. So they knew what a pillar of fire looked like. So when they described it looked like a pillar of fire against the sky, there was a pillar of fire that was already in existence. They knew. We're talking about a very famous family. They didn't disappear. They were the last remnants. The tribe of Judah, as they say, were the last remnants. All the other kingdoms had fled or went traveling or had been captured. It was very well known who was staying. And as far as them showing up in Bethlehem, they did that just like we renew licenses or we get caught up in the census. They had to register who they were. Yes, we're still sovereigns. Yes, we still are servants in the kingdom of shepherds. Yes, this is still our names. And yes, we do walk and live by our Shem. So yes, all that was going on. We all still on the same page. Because if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and read straight from the surah of Maryam. Because I want you to understand that the injeel is the lineage. The injeel, what they call the gospel. And the blood is important because no, you're not going to see it from a phenotype. You might see one description. However, the last time I checked, copper is a lot of different colors. There's a lot of different images or tones and hints that could be copper in my presence right now. Just about everything about me to lit and very heated copper. Let me find Maryam for you all. Thank you everybody for stopping through. Shame on me. There are 114 surahs in the Quran. Now, I should know at least close to where Maryam is. I'll say it's around 16, 17, maybe the 20th surah. 19. Here we go. Now, at another point in time, I will actually read the introductions to each of the surahs. It's a backstory. It tells you the history of what was going on at the time, whether the Prophet was in Medina or if he was in Mecca, and what was happening with the people at that moment. So, context and so forth for the culture. But we'll save that for another time. Right now, I just want you all to know what's actually in this book and how the family is actually referred to. All right, here we go. We're in Maryam. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. The characters this time: Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sa. This is a reminder of blessings that your Rabb bestowed on his servant Zechariah when he invoked his Rabb in secret, saying, O my Rabb, surely my bones have weakened, and the hair of my head glistens with gray. While I have never been disappointed in my prayer to you, O my Rabb, surely I fear about my relatives after me, for my wife is barren. Grant me an heir by your grace, who should inherit me and inherit the posterity of Yaqub, that's Jacob, and make him, O my Rabb, a desirable person. We answered his prayer, saying, O Zechariah, surely we give you the good news of a son. His name shall be Yahya, John, a name that we have not given to anyone before him. He asked, O my Rab, how shall I have a son when my wife is barren and I have reached an extreme old age? The answer came, so shall it be. Your Rab says, it shall not be a difficult task for me, just as I created you before when you were nothing at all. Zechariah said, O my Rab, give me a sign. He said, your sign is that for 3 nights you should not be able to speak to the people, even being sound in health. After this, Zechariah came out of the shrine and asked his people, through sign language, to glorify Allah in the morning and in the evening. To his son, when he became old enough, we said, O Yahya, hold firmly to the book. We granted him wisdom while he was yet a boy, and also granted him kindness and purity by our grace. And he grew up a pious man, dutiful to his parents. He was neither arrogant nor disobedient. Peace be on him the day he was born, the day of his death, and the day he will be raised to life again. O Muhammad, relate to them the story of Maryam in the book, the Quran, when she withdrew from her family to a place in the east. She chose to be secluded from them. We sent to her our angel, and he appeared before her as a grown man. She said, I seek Rahman's protection against you. Leave me alone if you are God fearing. Rahman means Allah. Rahmani is the protection of Allah. Basmillahi ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. In the name of the most merciful, the most compassionate. It takes mercy in order to show strength and protection. excuse me. Alhamdulillah. The wind has come to visit. Alhamdulillah. Shalom Akbar. Ravak HaKadesh. She said, I seek Rahman's protection against you. Leave me alone if you are God-fearing. He said, don't be afraid. I am merely a messenger from your Rabb to tell you about the gift of a righteous son. She said, how shall I bear a son? No man has ever touched me, nor am I unchaste. The angel replied, so shall it be. Your Rabb says it is easy for me. We wish to make him a sign for mankind and a blessing from us. And this matter has already been decreed. So she conceived the child, and she retired with him to a remote place. The pains of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried in her anguish, ah, would that I had died before this and been long forgotten. An angel from beneath consoled her, saying, do not grieve. Your Rabb has provided a brook at your feet. If you shake the trunk of this palm tree, it will drop fresh ripe dates upon you. So eat, drink, and refresh yourself. If you see any human being, say, I have vowed a fast for Rahman, Allah, so I will not speak to anyone today. Now, there's something important in there. It went from her getting the message that she was about to have a child. It went from that to she went into the pains of birth. That doesn't mean she immediately went into the pains of birth after she was given the message. She went away to go and pray away from the people and received a message from a messenger. Now, how about later on, she went away to pray away from the people and had her child after it had come to term. Because it specifically says she was leaning against a palm tree near a brook. And she was in a different place when she had received the message. People go into reading things and they take things out of context and add on things that were never there. And notice that, yes, she went through the pains of delivery. It was decreed. Just as this life, just as this path that she was walking was decreed by Rashayat. It was decreed, the whole path, everything. It was very known who all of these people were. Every time one of them popped up, oh, that's so and so because that's their name. In the same way you could recite, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you could recite Aleph, you could recite Gahamel, you could recite Lamed, you could recite Dalet, you could recite Zain. So yes, they knew who was in their presence. So what's magic and technology? Well, last time I checked, if you have a wind turret going, you've mastered wind and you have some electricity, or you've actually set up a pump for water or other devices. And you've mastered the wind. You've used it for your own benefit. We had technology. If we knew that whipping a stone around fast enough will generate enough velocity to split a skull, wasn't too hard to figure out that these winds blow pretty hard And if we set up some things in places, we could actually work with that win. Selah. Carrying the baby, she came back to her people. They said, "O Maryam, you have brought something hard to believe. O sister, a woman from the noble family of Harun," that's Aaron, from the noble family of Harun, Levites. Your father was not a bad man, nor your mother an unchaste woman. In response, she merely pointed towards the baby. They said, "How can we talk to a babe in the cradle?" Whereupon the baby spoke out, "I am indeed a servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. He has made me blessed wherever I may be. He has commanded me to establish Salah, prayer, and give Zakah, obligatory charity, as long as I live. He has exhorted me to honor my mother and has not made me domineering, hard to deal with. Peace be upon me the day I was born, and the day I shall die, and the day I shall be raised to life again." Such was Isa, Jesus, the son of Maryam, and this is the true statement about him concerning which they are in doubt. Now, I want you all to know something in future reference. I will be omitting the times that certain things are in parentheses because you speak the name enough. Yeah, it's basically saying that you uh, acquiesce to it, meaning that you don't have a fight in it at all, that you agree to let it exist. So, no, I won't even be pronouncing the name. I haven't in a while. That's what drove me away from singing in the choir. Excuse me. We're at an hour and 34 minutes. Thank you all for spending this time. It is not befitting the majesty of Allah that He Himself should beget a son. He is far above this. For when He decrees a matter, He need only say, "Be," and it is. Esau declared, "Verily, Allah is my Rabb and your Rabb. Therefore, serve Him. This is the right way." In spite of this, the sects, sects, from among them are divided concerning Jesus. This time it was in italics. But like I said, we're going to go through this whole session. Any other time I will be saying Isa, Yashabai, and so on and so forth. When it's in italics and parentheses, most definitely. So woe to the disbelievers who shall be punished after witnessing this truth on the great day of judgment. They will be able to see and hear very clearly on that day when they will appear before us. But today these wrongdoers neither want to hear nor see the truth and are in manifest error. O Muhammad, forewarn them about the day of intense regret when this matter will be decided, even though at present they are paying no heed and do not believe. Ultimately, all things will perish, and it is we who will inherit the earth and all that is on it, and to us shall they return. Relate to them the story of Ibrahim from the book, the Quran. He was a truthful prophet. Remember when he said to his father, "O my father, why do you worship something that can neither hear nor see nor profit you in any way? O my father, I've been given some knowledge which has not come to you, so follow me. I will guide you to the right way. O my father, do not worship Shaitan, for Shaitan is disobedient to the compassionate Allah. O my father, I fear that a punishment of the beneficent may afflict you, and you may become a friend of the Shaitan." His father replied, "How dare you renounce my gods, O Ibrahim? If you do not stop this folly, I will indeed stone you to death. So be gone from my house this very moment." Ibrahim said, "Peace be upon you. I will pray to my Rob for your forgiveness. Surely he is ever kind to me. I am leaving you and those whom you invoke besides Allah. I will call upon my Rob, and I am sure my prayers to my Rob will not be ignored. So when he left them and the deities whom they worshipped besides Allah, we granted him descendants like Ishak and Yaqub, and we made each of them a prophet. We bestowed on them our mercy, and we granted them the honor of being mentioned with true high respect. Oh, they were known. They were known the same way that Enoch was known because they were carrying on the lineage of Enoch. Yes, they were known. Same way when you walk into a room, it lights up the room. They were known. Those peculiar people who could actually own all the land and territory and charge people to tread upon it, even if they were just coming to get something to eat, those folks, yeah. The ones who said we don't really need a temple because it all already belongs to our Creator, yeah, them. The ones who said the father tried it as a king and he was told to wait for his son to do it, and the son said, well, we need to make sure we got gardens for the people to eat first. We're not building a temple until it's time to celebrate our unity. And they got to be people who understand each step into the temple means something. Relate to them the story of Musa in the book. Surely he was a chosen man and was a Rasul, a prophet. We called him from the right side of Mount Tur and honored him to come closer for exclusive conversation. We made his brother Harun a prophet with our blessing and assigned him as his assistant. Also relate to them the story of Ismail in the book. He was a man of his word and was a Rasul, a prophet. He commanded his people to establish Salah and give Zakah, to establish prayer and give charity, and was the one with whom his Rob was well pleased. Also relate to them the story of Idris in the book. He was a truthful man, a prophet, whom we raised to a lofty place. We'll have to find Idris, Idrees. We'll have to find Idris somewhere along in here and somewhere in the Apocrypha. We can find Idris. I'm going to read one more section out of the surah of Maryam. These are some of the prophets on whom Allah bestowed his favors from among the descendants of Adam and of those whom we carried in the ark with Nuh, Nah, Noah, and of the descendants of Ibrahim and Israel, and of those whom we guided and chose. Whenever the revelations of the compassionate Allah were recited to them, they fell to prostrate and weep. But the generations who succeeded them abandoned the salah, the prayer, and started following their lusts, so they will soon face the consequences of their deviation. However, those who repent, become believers, and do good deeds will be admitted to paradise and will not be wronged in the least. They will be granted the gardens of Eden, which the Merciful has promised to his servants, even though they have not seen them, and his promise shall be fulfilled. There they will hear no nonsense, but only the words of peace, and they will be provided their sustenance day and night. Such is the paradise which we shall give as an inheritance to those of our servants who lead a pious life. The angel Gabriel, who brought this revelation after a long interval, said, We do not descend from heaven except by the command of your Rob. To him belongs whatever is before us, and whatever is behind us, and all that lies in between. Your Rob is never forgetful. He is the Rob of the heavens and the earth, and of all that lies in between. So worship him. Be steadfast in his worship. Do you know any other being with the qualities like him? Alhamdulillah. All praises to our Father, provider of all sustenance and mercy. Amin. Selah. Asher. I agree. So be it. Well, actually, I agree. Think about it. So be it. Tomorrow we start up a whole new exercise. The actual timeline and game plan and what we're going to do with these special interest groups while we discuss entrepreneurship and service in our communities. You will be reminded about the standards of the kingdom of shepherds because that's our standard and code of ethics. It doesn't matter what type of enterprise we are in. When they say we come from a certain cloth, how about Prophet Muhammad's best friend? His family was in textiles. That would be clothing. That would be the fabrics of the tents, of the carpeting, of the ship sails. There's more to being kingdom of the shepherds than just some people who tend flocks. It's a very necessary occupation. However, even the shepherd knew a few things about turning over some dirt and dropping some seeds here and there, putting in some water. It's the story of Cain and Abel. Why are you letting your flock overrun the food that we all share? So I'll be mindful of each other to the point of making sure that we actually look into the information that's out there for us. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. About a little bit more jazz on the way out of here. Rhymes 82, Shalom Barak to you. You see, the hip hop that I was brought up on is not what most people think hip hop is. It wasn't about someone in a shiny suit. It wasn't about somebody in some baggy clothes. Most of the time, they had some shoes that were knockoffs and they were polished up nice. The outfit might not have had the correct logos. It's just an outfit that looked right and it felt nice. It was about the music that they were playing. It was about the moves that they were making because they were actually emulating kung fu. They were actually emulating the fact that they knew self-defense. They were listening to recordings of people who were talking about how to conduct yourselves in a civil way amongst society. That's what was being played back. There were PSAs on cassette tapes. That's hip hop. Couldn't put a name on it because most people were just contributing as it went along. That's the reason why it was on mixtapes. Because you could already have some songs that you were playing from the radio, and then someone comes along with something that was from one of the block parties that no one has played on the radio because that was a live performance. That's hip hop. Last time I heard some hip hop was from a CD in a magazine called Blue Magazine, BLU. Look it up. Look it up and see what you find. Yahaba Ahaba. Thank you for the love. Yahaba Ahaba. Ahaba Ahaba. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allahu Akbar. Subhana rabbiyal azim, subhana rabbiyal azim, subhana rabbiyal azim. Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Allahu Akbar. Subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la. Allahu Akbar. Rabbi shfiri wa rahmani wa rahmani wa rahmani warzuqni wa dini wa afi. Allahu Akbar. Subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal Ashr. Surely mankind is at a loss, except for those who do tabah deeds amongst each other with patience and consistency. Bisabir. Alhamdulillah. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Allahu Akbar. Subhana Rabbi al-Allah. Subhana Rabbi al-Allah. Allahu Akbar. Rabbi shfirli wa rahmani wa shfani wa rfani warzuqni wa dini wa afi. Allahu Akbar. Subhana Rabbi al-Allah. Subhana Rabbi al-Allah. Subhana Rabbi al-Allah. Allahu Akbar. Atahiyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibatu. Assalamu alaikum wa yuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala abdillahi salihin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Insha'Allah, ya Allah, yubarik alma wa sahaba. Alhamdulillah, ashukranallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. May you all have a blessed day. Thank you for spending this time. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom alaikum.